to Life Strategies with Nat. I am your host, Natalia. I'm here every week talking about how you can achieve more success, more happiness, and ultimate life fulfillment. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about habits. Out with the old, in with the new, or out with the old, in with the new. It's spring. It's spring in sunny Spain, and it's Semana Santa, so it's Easter time, and it's a time for new beginnings, um, new habits, right? My brother, I was talking to him today because it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Andy! And he was saying the sun just came out in Spain. Hey, Joe! Oh, sorry, he's saying the sun just came out in Switzerland, and I was like, oh, that's so great. I felt guilty because I've had sun, well, for a long time. Anywho, what are we talking about today? We're talking about habits. And I'm looking at my notes as well because I don't want to forget anything. But habits are just quite simply, it's a method of learning. It's a simple form of learning. And so if you think about every habit that you have right now as being something that you've learned along the way, it's a little bit easier to tackle it. And what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk to you about the 3 types of habits and how you can just maybe change your mindset around when it comes to changing habits, because they say it takes 21 days to change a habit. And there are all these different, like it takes 30 days to change a habit, 21 days to change a habit. At the end of the day, it's not going to be, snap your fingers, I'm over this. So just knowing that is helpful. But I don't want to skip ahead. And so let's get back to habits. What are habits? There's good habits, there's bad habits, right? So good habits are, hardworking, hardworking reading, writing, exercising regularly, drinking water every day. These basic things that go towards building up our energy, helping us get to a high vibe place. Helping us feel unstoppable, right? That's where we want to get to. And the habits that are not so good are things like alcoholism, things like drug addiction, things like procrastination, being lazy, things like, being dishonest, and, things that basically set you in a lower vibe. Hey, Heather, how are you, love? And so, I love my anatomy and my science, so I'm going to just insert that right now, because I like to give you guys my why, the whys of why we do anything. Hey, Sakshi! And so, forming a habit it initiates a physiological sense, and it's related to our nervous system. It's really fascinating, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm definitely going to be looking at my notes here. But so when you do something over and over again, it starts to formulate a nervous physiological response. Like your nerves start to get used to that reaction, that behavior that goes with the stimulus, if that makes sense. So the easiest thing I can think about is when you're hungry, your mouth starts to water. When you smell food, your mouth starts to water. There might not be any food present, but it's just that connection that your nerves have made. So you can go from a sensory response to like a motor response. So more of like an auto response, like you're on autopilot. You know what I mean? Let me know if you've ever found yourself on autopilot, because I have at one point for sure. Oh, hey, Sandy. And so when you have a stimulus that's repeated and repeated, and you have a response that's elicited every single time, the connection is stronger. So our nervous system actually to learns to do things, learns the connection, and it just becomes habit. So there's three types of habit. You have, hey Sarah, you have your motor habits, which are your motor activities like walking, standing, sitting, even maintaining your posture, right? You have intellectual habits, which are, it's kind of like the process, the psychological process that goes into, or that requires intellect. So, for example, having clear perception or logical thinking, or, having good observation. So that is intellectual habit. Those are intellectual habits. And then the third habits is habits of character. So this is where your feelings and your emotions start to come into play a little more often. You all know how I love my feelings and emotions. Actually, if anyone's wondering what's in the diffuser right now, it's peace and calming. I was talking about it in my other group this week. But anyway, the other one, it's like when we express ourselves in the form of habits. So, it's being kind to others. It's time management. It's being honest. It's trusting people. So it's those things. They're called like emotional habits, which kind of makes sense. It's talking about emotional intelligence, and some of us are more emotionally intelligent, if you will, than others. But that's not to say that we can't always improve, right? So how do you do it? How can you approach a new habit? Because time and time again, I work with people, and I know people, and I've done it myself, where you're like, okay, I need to change this. Like, I need to not do this anymore. I need to stop eating at night, or whatever it is for you. It can be so many different things, but or I need to give myself a break. Like, that's a big one, where you just work through the whole day and then you just suddenly realize, what did I do? So, giving yourself little chunks of time, like really specific things. But, that's a whole other episode there. But it's about making a good start. So setting an intention of saying, like, okay, why am I doing this? How am I going to feel? Like, I always like to say, how do I feel now? Because that usually indicates where I need to focus and maybe where I need to change some habits. And then I go to, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? And then it's like, okay, what can I do? What things can I change that can help me feel this way? I always start with, food, plants, water. Like 9 times out of 10, if I'm not feeling right, it's because I didn't drink enough water. It can be so simple. But, sometimes it's not that simple, and you actually have to work at it. So you have to set yourself in the right mindset, because it's not easy to change a habit. Like, it's just, if it was, we'd all be doing it. A lot easier. I'm not saying that we're not, but it does take the right mindset to be able to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, and this is how I'm going to feel. So when I'm thinking about maybe not doing other things, like maybe my self-discipline isn't as good as it needs to be. So when I get into that space, I know now to go back to my why. That always helps me. Just stop and just go back to your why. And the other one is practice. So it's not about being perfect. It's not like, we're going to make mistakes. We know we might fall off. We're not perfect. We are human beings. And we just need to be a little more mindful of that sometimes. And being like, okay, it's okay. I had, maybe I ate a little bit at night, but you know what? Tonight I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let that throw off my day. Or if it's something during the day, hey Andrea, then it's like, okay, maybe I'm gonna do my exercise first thing in the morning, like 10 minutes. I started doing this like with planks and push-ups. Takes literally 5 to 10 minutes. If you do that every day, you're going to start your day off like amazing. and then it'll just keep getting better every day. So, and if you need to become obsessed with it, like, do it. Like, if you need to keep telling yourself, like, I'm gonna get this number of clients, or I'm gonna have more veggies on my plate with every plate. Like, do it. Just little things, little changes. And don't give up. Don't get discouraged if you make a mistake or if you don't do it. It's okay. It'll be okay. Just check in and say, okay, what happened? And then the third one I want you guys to look at is your environments. So when you're changing habits, when you're trying to start something new, your environment can be everything. And that's like your home environment, your work environment. If you're at home, do you feel overwhelmed? Are there things that you can get rid of? Is your place cluttered? If you're at work and you're overwhelmed, is it that you need better time management? Do you need extra help? Did you take on too much, perhaps? There's so many things, and it's going to be personal to everyone, which is why I like to just generally give you some good strategies so that you can apply it to whatever you're facing. Then, of course, you can ask questions along the way. And I'm always here to help you guys, you know that. So, if you take one thing like your home, for example, because you spend a lot of time there, how do you feel at home? I know we just kind of talked about that, but maybe you want to bring more plants into your life. Like, that always makes me feel better. Actually, this morning I was at the supermarket, and I saw like this whole area of plants, like beautiful roses and like orchids. I almost bought them all. It was I'm like, no, I can't, because I'm leaving on a jet plane soon, and I'm gonna be leaving this apartment in Spain. So I'm like, no more flowers. But it was nice just to enjoy them. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, after my flower story, get flowers. Just kidding. If you want to do something different, you have to do things differently. It's just that simple. So if you want to comment about one habit that you want to change, let's commit and let's follow through and see how we can support you, or how I can support you. And I think I was gonna. Oh yeah, this is what else I was gonna say. I was gonna say it also kind of helps sometimes if you pick a role model. They can be a role model in your life, a role model that like you either know personally or perhaps not. It's not about copying X person. It's about seeing what habits they have. If you're not sure, if you're feeling a bit stuck on that, you can always do that. So, on that note, I will love you and leave you, and I hope you guys had some good insights from today's show, and I hope to see you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye.